Hello there. Today is day 13. Happy day 13. We're going to be talking today about how to see things from a higher perspective. It's so important to know that every experience that you go through in life is for you to learn to see it at a higher perspective. It's not to help you bring you down or pull you down. And it's interesting, everybody can go through the same experience and have so many different perspectives. For example, this morning, when I went for my run this morning, my running partner wasn't feeling good, so she decided to cancel. So I could have saw that as in one perception, like, oh man, I got to do this by myself. How am I going to do this? Am I going to be able to get through the run? Or I chose to see it in a higher perspective. I chose to see like, wow, I get 30 minutes to myself. I don't have to have a conversation. I don't have to do anything. I get 30 minutes, just me and the track and my program to do the run. So learning to see things in a higher perspective and learning that things happen for you and not to you is so very important. So I'd like to give you 3 tips, 3 ways to start to see things in a higher perspective. And I'm going to start with my number 1. Because this tip or tool rather is such a powerful way for you to switch gears and look at something totally different. And so knowing that the subconscious mind, when you are stressed or overwhelmed or frustrated, what happens is the subconscious mind begins to ask you questions. And when it asks questions coming from those states, we usually tend to ask questions to make us feel worse. Like, what's wrong with me? How come I'm doing this? How come it's not working? I don't even know if I'm doing this right. Am I doing this right? So our subconscious mind actually starts to question us and bring us what I call down a rabbit hole. So learning to retrain your thoughts, to switch gears when you get stressed and start asking yourself empowering questions. Empowering questions. If we go back to my run, I could have went and say, why didn't she show up? What am I going to do? Am I going to be able to get through this to myself? Those are all disempowering questions. But I chose to ask myself empowering questions. What's good about this? How can I make this work even better for myself? How is this serving me? What's the lesson I'm here to learn? What can I do now to feel good about this situation? Those are all empowering questions. And I challenge you today to write down at least three empowering questions that you can use that will bring you to a place of finding good in a situation. So an empowering question usually starts with what or how. And you always want to put the word now in it because the subconscious mind wants an answer now. So you always want to say, like, how can I feel even better right now? How can this be even easier for me right now? How can I be even easier on myself right now? How can I get my messages for my 3 action steps even easier right now? These are all keys to these questions are all keys to help you to see things in a higher perspective. The second tip is don't assume you know what's going on, or what's going to happen, or what's going on with the person, or whatever it is. Make sure you stay in the moment. A lot of times what happens is people begin to assume what they think someone might say, what an experience might be like, what could happen. They go into the what ifs, but not what if is what's possible. They go into the what ifs, like, what if this doesn't work? What if I don't take my action steps? What if we get to September 18th and I haven't manifested what I wanted? What if this goes wrong? What if I forget to do one of my steps in the day? So here's the thing. Don't assume. Stay in the moment. Stay in the moment, meaning, again, going back to the empowering questions, how can I stay in this moment right now? And if you are going to assume the best. The subconscious mind doesn't know what's reality or what you vividly imagine in your mind. So if you want to imagine and go into the what ifs, create the scenario that you want it to be, not what you don't want it to be. super powerful. So where you're at right now, start to train your brain to be, what if this happens? What if my manifestation does come true and I release my 10 pounds, I found the man of my dreams, I make the money I want to make. Realize that you create what you want up here. And worry is a very strong prayer for all the things that you don't want to happen. So if you're going to go into the what ifs, go into the what ifs in the good way. Okay. Third tool is use every opportunity as a learning experience. Every opportunity is an experience to grow and learn. What do I mean by that? If you're doing something and something triggers you, and I mean triggers you, it makes you feel upset or angry or frustrated, annoyed, whatever that is, that's an indication for you to go in and start to see, well, what is it that I really need to heal? Remember, if you're pointing the finger at somebody saying, you make me feel this, you make me feel that, or this makes me feel this, how many fingers are pointing back to you? 3. That means it's already within you. Remember I say what you create in your world already exists within you. So if you're seeing things that are annoying and frustrating and overwhelmed, those things are already existing in you and you have to get rid of them. You have to acknowledge them and release them. And we're going to talk about that starting on Friday, I believe. So one is really start journaling. What is it that's triggering you? What's the feelings that are coming up that are being triggered? Because we need to release them. So these 3 tips are just the tips of the iceberg on how to change your higher perspective. But what I thought would be wonderful is to share somebody with you that I met, I want to say probably about 8 months ago. And she has learned to totally see her life in a new perspective and has done amazing things so far, just in the last few months of me knowing her. And I'd like to introduce you to Miss Angelica. Hi, Angelica. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for coming on today. I know you actually have to work today, so I really appreciate you finding the time to do this with me. And my question to you is, after the last few months of working together, and I know that you've taken the Fear to Freedom course and you're currently in my Energy Mastery program, what's the difference in your perspective? How has your perspective changed in your life?
For me, I think the most dramatic difference is that I'm actually planning. I'm actually viewing things for my future that previously I never have done. And I have all of these wonderful ideas of what my future can hold and not letting my circumstances or previous circumstances act as like a block to what is my potential.
That's awesome. Awesome. And so going through the programs, so if you don't mind, and if you don't want to, that's okay. But if you don't mind, where was your perspective prior to the program?
Prior to meeting you, I was in a very negative place. I had suicidal tendency thoughts. I was self-harming frequently, physically, mentally. And I knew I needed a shift, and I actually had met you in a group healing class. I went with my friend. She had taken me, and from there I just knew that there was a connection, that like something between us that I wanted to foresee farther beyond, that one class. And it really has changed my life because I'm actually living now and viewing things on what I can do and manifesting a beautiful life.
So speaking of manifesting, we were talking before we started, and you were sharing some really exciting news. Do you want to just share a little bit about what's happening with your manifestation goals?
Yes. So one of the things that I was manifesting is a winter living situation, because currently I am full-time RVing, and my winter situation, I wasn't sure because my campground that I'm currently at closes down. And out of the blue, I received a text message from somebody I had met at a yoga studio I had gone to months ago. We had kind of connected, but obviously with, Corona, I haven't really seen her because we can't go to the yoga studio. And she had reached out to me saying that she was looking for a roommate. So that's kind of in process right now for my winter stay, to kind of be able to potentially live with her in a matter that's financially beneficial to me and for her as well.
That's so awesome. I mean, we're not even 30 days into the program and you've already manifested. Do you feel that you've already removed some of the blocks and limitations that you had on yourself to manifest easier by going through the other programs?
Yes. In regards to, especially with the tips that you've shared today, one, retraining how I think has been a foundation for me in the program, especially for my transformation. Just retraining how I think in general, and then viewing everything as an opportunity, whether it's good or bad, or what learning experience I can take from it. These are things that, we have previously worked on together that I think have, built a really great foundation for me, and, have to the universe to show that I'm open and ready.
Awesome. And I know that we've worked for months together. So this question may seem out of the blue for the listeners, but my question to you, and I didn't ask you this prior, is knowing that you are very spiritually connected, do you see signs? We were talking about seeing things from a higher perspective. And I know that when we were doing some work together, there was very significant signs for you. Are you still experiencing them, or is there like something like, I see hearts all over the place, like they're always coming to me, and that's always a sign that I'm on track, that I'm loved, and that God's supporting me? Does that type of feeling happen to you, like where you just feel connected and guided and directed in life?
Yeah, I don't have, to my knowledge anyway, the recurring signs, but I definitely do have signs show up to me that I'm, on the right path, or just that that little voice in your head, your higher self, just speaking to you and telling you that, to do something that, you personally wouldn't have thought of, but your higher self or whoever is telling you to like go do this or think about this. Or I've had it the other day where it's like I was doing something and they're like, look in this drawer, you're going to find something that you need. And, just like little things like that.
That's awesome. I love that. And there's so many people that come to me that like, they want that connection. They want that not only connection with themselves and people, but they want that connection to their higher self. And I know as a child, that was something I always looked for. I always believed in a higher power, but I wasn't sure how to see things from a higher perspective. And one of the things I know to see things from a higher perspective is to gain that connection. And for me, it was releasing all of these negative belief systems that I had about myself in order to realize that I was worthy to receive that connection. Does that feel similar to you, or is there a different story?
No, that seems exactly right. Like I always wanted that spiritual connection, and it's always there. It's just you being aware to it. And I think, especially through this program and the programs I've done with you, is becoming aware of how many signs that you're getting a day and how connected you really can be if you just like sit and open yourself up to it, how much is actually coming through to you.
Awesome. And, going through these two different programs with me, are there tools? I mean, I know there's tons of tools that we've gone over, too many to share here, but do you have like 2 or 3 that are like your, I lost her. I was going to ask her if she had 2 or 3 of her go-to questions or go-to tools to help her move forward. So we'll see if she pops on. But I know for many of my clients, as you already heard, are affirmations and meditations. My favorite tools are the empowering questions, because anytime you go into a stressful state, if you train your mind to ask yourself empowering questions, then you'll be able to find empowering answers. See, the quality of your life comes down to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. So learning to ask really empowering questions is a key to seeing things from a higher perspective. And know that if you are looking to really get through some of your blocks and limitations and struggles, I am putting together a small group of women to go through the Fear to Freedom program, which will be launched by tomorrow evening, possibly Friday. Here she is. So that will be coming up. So just put a comment if you are interested in learning more about those programs, and I'll make sure that you get the information. Ah, there you are.
Hi, sorry about that.
No worries. Technology is the way it is. So I was just going to ask you if there is a couple of tools that are like, there's many that we've talked about over the months working together, but is there any like your favorite go-to tools?
I think one that I use on a daily basis is the energy triangle. I think it's ingrained within me to kind of just use it as second nature now on, what do I need to do for me to either uplift myself or get out of a situation or something. Am I doing what I need to be doing that's best fulfilling me?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the energy triangle yet. So that will be tomorrow is all about energy. So maybe we'll bring in the energy triangle tomorrow. But I have a very special guest for tomorrow. I can't wait to introduce her to everybody. But so you got the energy triangles, or any others, or is that like that's kind of like the hub, I feel, where all the other tools are in it. So that's like the best one to master.
Yeah.
Awesome. So in closing, Angelica, is there anything that you would say to someone that's struggling, maybe where you were, or maybe not quite in that same space, but just struggling with living and appreciating life? We have so much greatness in the world, and when you are so stuck in yourself, it's hard to see the greatness. And I know you see it now, as you're saying, you're, envisioning a beautiful future and, having all these creative ideas. Is there someone that you could say or speak? Is there something you could or want to say to someone that may have been where you were or close to where you're at that could help them move forward?
I would say, stay connected, find, more or less your tribe of people like-minded to you, really figure out, what it is that you like to do, and kind of dive into it. Just, something to keep you uplifting and more or less distracted until you can become grounded enough to have a stable foundation mentally.
Awesome. And something you just said is so important is to find your community and tribe. And prior to you coming on live with me, we were talking about how somebody inspired you from our group. And I just think that that's so true, is that's what's so wonderful about working together collectively, is because, like there's thousands of tools out there, and you might be using this tool and this tool and this tool, and somebody says this, and then you connect with that again. And so what has it been like for you to be part of not only the Take Back Your Life community, but the Forever Freedom community and the community that we've created?
I love having so many supportive people just surrounding you. They say that you are who you surround yourself with, the top people you surround yourself with. So, if you look around and you don't like, who you are, kind of assess who you're surrounding yourself with. And if you're surrounding yourself with such, strong, empowering, especially females, in my mind, like that is just going to set you up so well to, really get yourself going. I just love the community that you're building, and I'm so happy just to be able to be a part of it.
Cool, cool. And there was someone that shared something, and I'd like to say that she can just be acknowledged. I don't remember who it was, but you said,
I
"Oh,
Yes, I can't remember exactly who it was, but I know it was talked about like um, doing meditation every day, and I kind of realized that I used to meditate every day, and I realized I'm like, I can't remember the last time I actually meditated consecutively or at all. So that's definitely something that I've been incorporating back in the last couple days. Realizing that just really kind of just sets me back on track.
cool." So, as I've been saying from the beginning, the power of sharing through this process is so, you have no idea whose life you're going to touch and how you're going to help somebody. And just that little thing, like maybe that's the action you need to take to get even, I mean, you're already halfway or already done the winter manifestation. So you've got another few weeks to add another something in there, you know? It doesn't have to end when the challenge ends, but, so being a part of the community and sharing is really important because you don't know what your one little saying, how that's going to have a ripple effect on everybody else. Is there anything else you'd like to share as we close for today, Angelica?
No, I think we touched on everything. I'm just very thankful to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming. I appreciate it. And have a wonderful, fabulous day, Angelica.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. So in closing, to see things in a higher perspective is the key to life. Start asking yourself quality questions, empowering questions. List 3 in the chat so that I can see them and maybe guide you to make even more empowering questions. Don't assume things. Stay in the moment. And if you're going to assume the best, right? Everything is energy. And that's what we're going to talk tomorrow. Your thoughts are energy. So if you're going to assume the worst, you're going to bring in the worst. If you're going to assume the best, you're going to bring in the best. So don't assume what people are going through. And if you are, assume good. Assume good. Stay in the moment. All right. And the last one is use every opportunity as an opportunity to learn. So if something's triggering you, if something's bringing up those emotions, thank the situation and then go in and process the emotions that you need to process. And so a couple things that Angelica talked about, we talked about removing blocks to we've worked so much on removing her blocks and limitations that she's already manifested within day 13. She's already manifested what she wanted to manifest. The power of that is just beautiful. See, when you fully believe you deserve your manifestation, when you release your limitations, your fears, your blocks, the manifestations happen like this. It just happens over and over for you. So if you want to release even more of those blocks, work on those limitations and all of that, put a comment in the box today, and I'll make sure to send you a private invitation to the group that I'm going to be starting. I am taking applications. It is a application process, and it will be for those that really want to make change in their life. So that being said, go out, make a wonderful day, stay committed. As you know, once you're committed, all the fear and anxiety has to subside because you are focused on what you want, not what you don't want. Happy day 13. Bye now.